r/AskReddit. Firefighters, what's the dumbest way you've seen someone accidentally start a house fire? I worked for a restoration company. A family cut a small tree down and tried to stuff it up their fireplace to burn. The flute was so crammed with leaves that smoke started to fill the living room. They tried to pull the tree out and that's when it really caught fire. They tried to pull it out of the house. They got as far as the front door. All of them had second/third degree burns on their hands/arms and the fire destroyed the front room and entryway of their house. The insurance company asked us if we thought it was a case of fraud, and we told them, no, these people are just really stupid. They should have at least called the fire department before trying to take something that's burning out of the fireplace and drag it through the house. I'm about to burn my house down. Will you please send someone out? The old turkey fryer on the wood deck is always a favorite. My dad is a firefighter, and he once told me that if I ever want to start a fire and make it look like an accident, that the turkey cooker is the way to do it. He taught me how to commit arson and insurance fraud. Interesting. Now I just need to own a house. It also works with apartments. My husband and I went to his parents' house for Christmas one year. When we came back home we had a WTF happened moment across the street. The house had all the windows busted, the brick on the entire house was charred, and all the cars in the driveway were melted to the cement. Turns out they had started a grease fire from frying a turkey, then tried to throw water on it to put it out. Fortunately, they only destroyed their own house, but burned the side of the neighbor's house. Needless to say, they made the news. Do not throw water on a grease fire. You need to smother the fire properly. In the city of Colorado Springs, the local news did a fluff piece about candle safety near Christmas. After they were done filming, the store owner that they were filming in took the crew out to breakfast. She didn't put out the candles and burned several shops to the ground. The film crew was there to film her breakdown when they realized what caused the fire. Wow. That's a textbook example of irony. A Roomba knocked a scented candle over and set fire to the rest of the room. The guy said he knew the Roomba did it because he watched the whole thing happen, but didn't do anything because he thought it was funny. I can just imagine the Roombas turning to face the guy and saying something like, "They'll never believe you." Teenager was charcoal grilling in the attached garage during the winter. When done he decided the best place to dispose of the hot coals was into a cardboard box in front corner of the garage closest to the house. Yeah, it went about as well as you can imagine. He forgot to turn the coals off. I remember my neighbor's house burnt down completely from a grill. They left it unattended, and the dog knocked it over. My dad was a firefighter, and he once went to a house fire that was started by the old lady who lived there. She liked to burn candles, but didn't like the wax buildup that would form in the cavity, so she would soak up the liquid wax with a napkin. She was doing this when she accidentally brushed a wax-soaked napkin up against the flame. She panicked and threw the napkin into the trash, where all the other wax napkins were. As the trash can exploded into flames she fled the house, but not before she went to her oxygen tanks and flooded the house with pure oxygen because she thought that it would smother the fire. The exact worst thing to possibly do. I'm guessing they were not able to save the house after that move. The only part of the house that was significantly damaged was the basement. All the oxygen tanks were in the basement with the fire, but she shut the basement door on her way out, so she simultaneously helped and choked out the fire. I'm sure there was some smoke damage, but I don't think the house was completely burned down. Fun fact, O2 isn't flammable. It just makes whatever is on fire burn really ducking fast, but it itself won't explode or anything. I'm a paramedic, and I've had calls where a patient has facial burns from smoking with oxygen on. I always thought the O2 was exploding. Turns out, it makes the cigarette explode, that's why it's survivable, cause the cigarette is only so big. A fairly common one, but the response was interesting. Early February, Western PA. Guy's pipes freeze on the coldest day of the year, -8 degrees Fahrenheit, -22 degrees Celsius. He tries to thaw them with a propane torch. Sets the wall on fire. Tries to put the fire out. Fails. Finally calls 911. Fire chief is half block away. Is on scene in under a minute. Basement is fully involved, main floor catching. First engine arrives in under 5 minutes. Doors are blocked by fire, exterior attack only. I'm on an attack line, spraying water into the second floor window. After 40 minutes, another firefighter comes to relieve me, but since I'd been getting back spray, I'm frozen to the ground. He has to pull me loose. 2 hours later, we have it knocked down. The insurance adjuster shows up. Assistant chief explains what started the fire. Adjuster replies, "Oh, yeah, we know. It's okay, we insure for stupid." Holy shit, you were frozen to the ground from the spray? That's both amazing and hilarious. In college, a girl in the dorms was making popcorn which, not sure how but somehow, caught fire in the microwave. She didn't want to get into trouble for it, so she grabbed the flaming bag of popcorn and threw it into the nearby trash can. Then proceeded to cover the fire with paper towels to smother it. She actually thought it would work. It did not work. I came back exhausted after work to find the dorm building surrounded by fire trucks. College students are really something else. My school is a nursing and engineering school, full of the people that will be staffing hospitals and designing the technology of tomorrow. I cannot tell you how many times I was awoken in the middle of the night because one of these beacons of the future got stoned and put a burrito in the microwave with the foil still on it. We had numerous people forget to add water to the instant noodle cup, but leaving the foil wrap on something is probably worse. I'm a firefighter, but this wasn't in my district. A guy was attempting to forge a sword in a burn barrel in an alley, based on something he watched on the History Channel. The embers from the forge lit up the building he lived in, and destroyed 3 multi-family residential buildings. So that's why Forged in Fire has a warning at the beginning now. Late 1980s. Guy was driving an old beat-up Lincoln. He turned a corner to go up a steep hill, but the road department had recently ground the asphalt down in preparation to repave. A storm sewer manhole cover was sticking up about 4 inches. As he went over it and up the hill, the rear of his car dragged due to the pavement height difference, and the manhole ripped open his fuel tank and sparked off the gas. Guy described it. I heard a scraping sound, looked in the mirror, and there was this trail of fire chasing me up the hill, like I was the road runner. He pulled into a gravel parking lot and tried to kick a brake in the trail before the fire got there, but it jumped the gap and led the car. By the time we got there, it was a total loss. He actually thought it was kind of funny. The only real loss was his wife's purse, with her license and credit cards. The car was insured, and they got a pretty nice payout for it. Yeah, that is a good one. I can imagine watching that all go down lol. I'm glad everything was okay in the end. The driver thought it was hilarious. He's driving along, looks in the mirror, and there's a fire chasing him, and nowhere else. He was really upbeat about the whole thing. This happened this past fall, but a family had a fairy house that was outside, right next to their Woodside's house. The fairy house was made out of an old tree and had a bunch of decorations in it, including incense candles. One evening, they decided that they would light the candles for the fairies, which then caught the tree on fire, which then extended into the house. Since it started on the outside, it ran up the side of the house and got into the attic and second floor. The family was home, but in the first floor. While this was happening, it wasn't until someone driving on the road saw the smoke and went to alert the family. Luckily, we were able to save the structure. There was a bit of damage to the roof, attic and second floor, but the home owners are rebuilding those areas. Fairies were displeased, I guess. Not a firefighter, but the apartment building I lived in at the time caught fire because all my neighbors smoke and throw their cigarette butts into the ground, which happened to be fresh mulch, before going up the steps. The mulch caught fire, which lit the siding on fire. No one's fire alarms went off. Someone driving by saw the smoke, stopped, ran and pulled the fire alarm, but it was only connected to the buzzer in the breezeway, not the fire alarms in the apartments. All bedrooms are in the back of the apartments, so no one heard it or woke up. He ran past the flames and banged on everyone's doors to wake people up. Fire department came and put out the fire pretty quick. It never got very big. I also caught the whole thing on my truck's dash cam, but can't find the video now. It was just one more thing that got us to leave apartments for good. Too many stupid people. I worked in an amusement park that allowed, at the time, smoking in most outdoor areas of the park. We had a couple mulch fires and trash can fires per day in a time it didn't rain. My father was a Boston firefighter for 30 plus years. One of his more memorable stories was a foreign family who had ripped up their cast iron bathtub and built an open flame underneath the tub. They used the tub as a giant oil fryer. Naturally, this didn't work out very well, and the house caught fire. To add to the insanity even more, the family absolutely refused to let my dad and his coworkers in without taking their boots off. Which of course, they couldn't agree to. Just crazy. Not a firefighter, but happened in my building. In India, generally you have small praying place in your house, like a little version of a temple. You lit diya lamp every day and pray there. In this particular case, the family decided to keep this thing on a duck-in refrigerator. The diya fell behind the fridge due to wind from the window adjacent to it. The condenser caught fire and literally exploded. The whole floor was on fire. Luckily no one was home. It really was a dumb decision to keep a temple on a duck-in fridge. Oh yeah. I once saw or heard of a family who put their diya near their power generator. Somehow the diya fell into the generator and the house exploded. Luckily, they were not at home.